Well, Ben, congratulations on England captain. Any hesitation when Kesey asked you?
No, none.
None whatsoever?
No, I don't think that's a job that is an easy thing to ever turn down to anybody. Obviously, you've got to put some thought into it because it's not just a, yeah, all right, I'll have it a go. You know, there's a lot of things to consider, but no, there was no hesitation.
And how will the England side look? I know how close you are to Joe. How will the England side look under Ben Stokes?
I think one thing that I've always wanted in, you know, teammates and people who I play with is selflessness, and always making sure that at the top of everyone's mind is what can I do, what can we do to win this game. And I think having that message sort of at the top of everyone's mind is a very good place to start. So yeah, I think that's a very good starting point.
And you took a time away from the game. Me, I know that more than anybody, what it's like to be to struggle mentally. It's not like a broken leg. It's not like a busted knee. It's not an easy fix. When you said there was no hesitation, how did that go through your mind? Because it's such a difficult thing that I don't think, from talking from experience here, I don't think it ever goes away. With the pressures of what the job entails. How are you going to manage that?
No, I think, you know, it's a very fair question to ask, and I think a very good way to answer it is that, you know, obviously what you don't want to do is, you know, almost make mental health like a stigma or anything like that. And, you know, I chose to take time out of the game because I needed to at that time, and, you know, I now speak to people and I will continue to speak to people. But for me, having gone through quite a lot of experiences, you know, in my cricket career, on the field, off the field, I see that as a very powerful thing for me to have experienced, because I have an understanding of what on the field things can sometimes do to people, what off the field things can do to people, because I'm hope that if anybody else, whilst I'm in charge, feels like something might be getting a little bit too tough for them or on top of them, that they can come to me because I've been there. So I don't see it as, you know, as some people might write it, as a negative thing. You know, if anything, I see it as a positive thing, that me being captain, having gone what I've gone through over the last couple of years, you know, can hopefully help not just young players, but, you know, older players as well, if they ever feel like they've going through a tough time, because I can relate to them.
Does that make it an easier decision for you to take the captaincy of what you have gone through? Because from 18-year-old, me sitting here in this very building downstairs, seeing you come in, make your debut for Durham, go through the whole career that you have, you know, how proud I am watching you develop your career, and you've had the roller coaster you have. Does that make it easier to lead people because you have got experiences that, you know, whatever the problems come, I've been through it? I
don't know if it makes it easier. I think it just gives just an understanding of more things. You know, like sometimes it can be very just, you know, like so focused on what is needed out there that once that's done, once the day's finished, you know, like some people might not have an understanding of what actually people can feel like once they're done, because you almost feel like when you're out there, everything else just sort of leaves you for that moment. But then when you're off the field, you know, obviously that's when life comes back to normal. So as I said, you know, I feel that if anything, it's just a massive positive doing the role that I'm now expected to do, whilst also having a lot of experiences off the field throughout my career. So yeah, I don't see any negative in it whatsoever.
There's been a lot of, and there will be, as always, a lot of talk about the comparison of Flintoff and Botham and stuff like that. The all-rounder, does he take too much on? Do you think getting the captaincy, because a lot of England captains come in around about sort of 24, 25, 26, do you think you could put that all-rounder tag to one side because of the amount of cricket you've played and the experience you've got, because you're getting the captaincy probably at the right time for you, closer to 30?
Well, look, I've had the Flintoff Botham tag follow me around since I was 18 years old, and I've always said the same answer: is I'm not trying to be Andrew Flintoff, I'm not trying to be Ian Botham. You know, I am Ben Stokes. And being an all-rounder, you know, like it's an amazing role to do, because you can impact the game in all 4 innings in a test match. And one thing that I'll be naive to do is to not take advice from people around me. I've always felt that making people feel like they are being listened to and have the opportunity to speak about anything is a key thing to be as a leader, and not just thinking your way is the only way, because if you feel like that, then I don't think you're going to get many people following you. So there will be times on the field where I do ask, what do you think, like, is this the time for me to do something? I remember doing that in my first test match against West Indies. I used Joss a lot to ask him what he thought, and I will always continue to ask other people's opinions, because I think that's a good mark of a leader, is always making sure that you've got other people's opinions and feel like they can voice what they want to say.
And finally, Keezy mentioned first thing was Broad and Anderson to come back. Do you think it was the right idea at the wrong time from the Caribbean point of view? And where do you stand on Broad and Anderson coming back into the fold?
Look, I'm not going to focus on or worry about what's gone on in the past. For me, it's about what we do from now, and then how we operate from June the 2nd when the test matches start. In my opinion, I always want to have the best 11 available to pick to go out there and win a game for England. And if James Anderson and Stuart Broad fit, they're up for selection.
On behalf of TalkSport, wish you all the very best, Benjamin.
Thanks, Harmy. Get that frog out your throat.
I know.
That was Harmy speaking to Ben Stokes. He's now had a gargle. The frog is out of his throat. Harmy, he sounded really, really positive, but you sat there looking into his eyes. Did you pick up any semblance of doubt whatsoever? I mean, he's not a doubting man, is he?
None whatsoever. My outlook in the way I look at Ben Stokes can't get any higher, to be honest. Everybody knows and have heard me on TalkSport and the Collective and the commentary about what respect I've got for the young man, what he's been through, what he has to go through, the life he lives because of he's England's one of England's greatest ever all-rounders. And I sat in front of a young man who I've known since 15-year-old, and the look in his eye and the way he speaks about that, he spoke about being the honour, the pride about being captain. I think the ECB have had a good week. I really do. I think what Keezy said, and I'm biased again because he's one of my best mates, but I think England have had a good week. I've sat with 5 or 6 of the mainstream journalists who've covered cricket for hundreds and hundreds of years. Paul Newman, Dean Wilson, they said about Keezy's press conference, it was brilliant, refreshing, honesty, none of the ECB nonsense, none of the sort of management spiel. It was just say it how it is, exactly the way he did on commentary. Like, see where he is in 4 or 5 years' time. Hopefully he's had a good run at it. He might be a bit different, but I think the ECB have had a good week. Ben Stokes, I think, will be a very, very good captain. Asked the question I posed to him about at the right time, 30-year-old, is this the right time? A lot of England captains get it in their sort of mid-20s because they're the best player. They've had a great start to their careers. Ben's been through a lot. And when you talk about, Rob Key talked about empathy, I think he's, because of the way he is as a person, because of the experiences he has had in personal and professional life, then I think that's what will make him a good leader. But Manners, you've been one of them written journalists who have done it for hundreds and hundreds of years. You're only as good as the players that you play with and the team that you've got. And unfortunately, at this minute in time, they're 1 from 8, 1 from 17. And they've somehow, like you said, they've got to try and get back to picking the best 11 and winning cricket matches.
And finally, just expand a little bit more on about the management of his workload. Is he able to do that?
I think he will be able to. We've never really touched on that. I think that is something the new coach, the new selection system. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. If you have a head coach of the white ball team, if you have a head coach of the red ball team, for me, you need a selection panel. Don't think you need a head selector. I think you need 2, possibly 3 in management roles to pick squads and they manage the group. So basically, as a captain, this is who you've got. I'm sure the captain and the coach will have an input in it and who gets rested and what, where and when. But I think if you're going to go down a split coaches route, I think you need the coach to coach, you need the captain to captain, and you have the selection unit to pick and choose the group that the captain gets to go on the field, gets a chance to take on the field. And it's done in such a way that it's made best use for everybody, because there's a handful of players Stokes, Archer if he's fit, Wood if he's fit. There is one or two more that play across formats that have to be managed. And the biggest one for me is managing Ben. For me, I'd just play him in major tournaments in white ball cricket. I wouldn't play him in any other cricket other than major tournaments and let him captain the red ball team.
But would he be happy doing that? And the other thing is, Harmy, I just, what I meant was when a game has needed breaking open, when Joe Root's needed to make something happen, he's gone to Ben Stokes. What's to stop Ben Stokes from going to Ben Stokes and not thinking about tomorrow or next week or next month?
He'll always think of the team. He always has done, and not worry about tomorrow. The problem he's got, somebody's going to have to stop him. Like in the Caribbean, when I was on commentary, I was going, send him off the field, Joe, and lock him in the toilet. Do not let him come back out because this is not great for him. He shouldn't have been bowling them overs. He's going to have to learn quickly on that, but that's the art of captaincy. That's the art of leadership. He's going to have to learn that on the job because that's what captains do. That's what leaders do. So, but he will have to have a good lieutenant. He mentioned Josh Butler. I don't think Josh will be coming back, but he said he leaned on Josh a hell of a lot when he captained the England team when Joe was missing for the birth. I think it was his second child. But he'll use Joe Root. I've got no doubt whatsoever. Joe Root will be a very, very good right-hand man for Ben Stokes, standing next to him at slip or sitting next to him in the dressing room. And if he wants advice, Joe will give it. I'm sure Joe will keep his own counsel. But I think if something needs to be said, I think Ben will have so much respect for Joe Root that he'd be comfortable saying it.
And just very quickly, final point, there's talk about Ben's going to need a good vice-captain. I mean, I know it's unconventional and people will scoff at me for even suggesting it, but wouldn't Joe be the best vice-captain?
Absolutely. It wouldn't, honestly, I couldn't agree more. There's two people that are comfortable in this side, and one was captain, one is captain. And I think that is as simple as that. I've heard Ben Stokes' name mentioned. I don't think Johnny needs any responsibility other than to go out and play cricket. I don't think you need to name a vice captain. I think you can name a vice captain at the time. Team's going out. If I go off the field, you're taking the team in charge. For me, at this minute in time, to get us through the next phase, to players start becoming comfortable in the team, we start winning again, Broad and Anderson can do that job, not a problem at all, because it looks like they're coming back.